I have such an interesting message that came through today. So the message that came through was that you're like obsidian, and if you know obsidian gemstones, it's a grounding stone. It's very much a root chakra type of energy where it's incredibly grounding. And the reference point that spirit was giving me is that you have an effect like obsidian on those around you. So I'm seeing it as you immediately ground those around you into presence. And it's not just a protective kind of gemstone, it's also incredibly reflective. So there's something in which you embody and encompass. I'm actually hearing encompassing in your being, or that you're encloses your being when it comes to this essence. But I was seeing it as your golden obsidian, but also silver obsidian. And I have some right here that I've actually been working with for a while. I'm going to see if it shows up on camera for you guys, because you can see it mainly in the sunlight. So if it doesn't show up that well, because there's literally a face hidden inside of this one, then I'll probably play some illustrations just so that you can see what it is I'm talking about. Let's see if I can get some light. So that's silver obsidian right there. Absolutely beautiful. And that's like the feminine lunar energy that is a reflective. And then here is some that's aquamarine. This is gold obsidian right here. So you can see that gold. Super beautiful. In the sunlight, it's even more so, but super, super also powerful. So just let you connect with that for a second. But the message that came through is like, depending on who stands in your field, they'll experience a completely different version of truth. And I'm hearing also a completely different version of you, because golden obsidian is more masculine, it's more solar energy, and it's the part of you that doesn't allow anything to stay hidden. It's like a redirector. So anything that's been suppressed or repressed, it just automatically brings it to the surface. And there's something that you do where there's, I'm hearing the one who reveals. You are the one who kind of has that truth serum effect, if that makes sense, and not in yourself but in others, right? So the one who reveals things in others without even trying. This could look like people saying, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I am. There's something about your presence that makes people feel, again, safe and protected to actually disclose certain things with you. And I'm hearing disclosure, which is super interesting, so I'm just going to use that as a keyword right now and read that for you. So to disclose is to make something known or reveal information that was previously hidden or private, right? To disclose is to bring something into the open. So something that's being revealed, something that's personal, and lifting a veil from something that's concealed into something that becomes visible. I'm hearing in your field, or to something that was concealed to something that becomes visible in your field. I'm hearing something that was previously invisible. And the reason that happens is because you don't just hold space for others, but instead you literally bring up the unconscious patterns to the surface without even trying to. It's just a natural, I'm hearing, side effect of actually being around you. This is such an interesting energy. So yeah, you'll be someone that cuts through distortion, like you'll cut through illusion and any kind of self-deception, and any way that people have kind of been deceiving themselves. They'll feel it in your field, right? So your presence can be incredibly intense to people. When we talk about golden obsidian, it does have that effect, because around you, you know, you can't pretend, because it's a stone that activates the root chakra, right? And when we speak about the root chakra, that holds vast amounts of information. That is something that you move into the sacral, and you move into the solar plexus. It brings things into the body, not just through awareness, but through actual embodiment. So you may be the one that people encounter when they're ready to transform in some way. And it's not because they ask, but it's because it's what's in alignment with them at this stage of their, you know, evolution. And golden obsidian doesn't ask for permission. It just reveals whatever comes within its vicinity. Like, it reveals something. So that's the golden obsidian essence. We'll definitely pour an energy on this. I want to get a quantum message. And the second one is the silver obsidian that I showed you. And silver obsidian is the one who mirrors, right? This is more of a feminine, lunar, receptive energy. So there's this other layer to you that's softer, that's quieter. I'm hearing that's more observant and more lunar. So you don't always expose. There is a gentler lesson in which you reflect. And that is the mirror in which you become. I kind of see it as that. In your presence, people can also see themselves clearly, but it's in more of a gentle way. It's more of a inviting way, because you hold that 0 point. You observe without reacting. You allow people's emotion to come to the surface in a way that's incredibly powerful, but also subtle. And you allow those emotions to arise without having to force them from an individual. I'm hearing also that information. And that's where your power becomes very subtle, because you're not pulling anything out, but you're naturally allowing that to reveal. Okay. I'm hearing you're allowing someone to look like they're speaking to you, but really they're speaking to themselves. That's going to land really, really deeply with someone. Really, they're saying the things that they needed to hear all along. And it's not even anything that you're directly saying. It's just the space in which you're holding where that naturally arises. And that is the side effect of the silver obsidian. So silver obsidian can also connect to the root, but also the third eye, right? It connects the body to also your intuition. So now we understand why we're feeling a certain way, right? It's like an internal contemplation that leads us to certain conclusions about, oh, that's why that happens. So I'm seeing as you can be someone that brings a lot of clarity into somebody's field simply by holding space for them. I'm hearing like holding space and allowing them to feel safe within that space. It's a calming the nervous system so that that truth can arise without it feeling overwhelming. It's more of a gentle kind of energy. So you're the one that people encounter when they're ready to understand with that lunar energy of the silver obsidian. Now, the reason I see you as both is because there's this integration that's happening in your field, and this is something that makes you so unique, because you don't just do shadow work, but you're somebody that orchestrates it within yourself and also those around you, because there are moments where you are the activation and everything kind of comes to the surface, but then there are also moments where you're just the stillness and everything is just witnessed in your field. Are there some certain things that you witness within another fractal of awareness's field, and you know when it's time to reveal something to an individual and show them? So yeah, there's an energy of you know when to reveal certain things, but then you also know where to just reflect and hold space and allow that to be revealed naturally within another individual. So I'm seeing you as someone that pulls consciousness into the body, right, where the soul can become really acquainted with the apparent themes that are happening within the vessel that it's incarnated into, and any kind of energy or stagnancy that's stored within the lower field when it comes to survival patterns or energetic cords. You strengthen sovereignty, so people become more aware of their field and what's in it simply just by being around you. That's the energy that's coming forth, where they can become more of themselves or return to themselves. So you're not here to be liked. That would be my one message to you. You're here to bring the truth into people, and sometimes that looks like exposure, other times that's going to look like stillness, and I'm hearing you exposed to that stillness, so lean into more of that that element, and just know that either way, nothing false can sustain itself within your presence, and that's because you've cleared up distortion within your own field. So that's something that's coming through, right? You're not someone that forces transformation, but instead you become the environment where transformation becomes inevitable within your vicinity. It's a very Pluterian type of energy. So I'm going to go ahead and pull two Cosmos Visions cards for you. First of all, we're going to get the solar energy, and then we'll get the lunar energy for the gold and the silver. Okay, we have, what did I just say, right? Pluto energy. Pluto, and then we have density. So any kind of basically any density or belief systems that have been weighing us down and almost like repressing and suppressing the psyche, which is the interface of where spirit meets matter, and distorting the way that we see ourselves as creators or abundant beings in this system, is ultimately cleared within your field. I'm kind of seeing like a dusting of the third eye there. And then you also have x-rays, which literally talks about seeing life through the lens of the soul, because x-rays talks about seeing, well, you know, doctors trust what the x-ray shows them, even though they can't see it with their physical eyes. So there's so much more than what goes beyond our physical eyes that exists around us, that our physical dimension limited avatars eyes can't pick up on, because we can only see 1 to 2% max of the light spectrum. Everything else is existing in higher bandwidths of frequency light, only accessible to our primary antenna, being our third eye or the lens of the soul, that can interpret these higher bandwidths of frequency light, i.e. the guides and celestial helpers in your field, i.e. you're not alone, you have many ancestors around you. And the telescope at the base literally talks about the eye of the soul, right? To be able to see further than the human eyes. And there's something that you invite when it comes to that process. I'm gonna go ahead and read these actually. It's super beautiful energy that's come up here. I wasn't expecting this. And I also don't have much battery, so I'm going to keep this one shorter and sweeter. But let me go ahead and read Pluto. Okay, you know what? Let me read it from my mind's eye. Pluto talks about Pluto was once one of us, right? It was once part of our solar system. Many people considered it as part of our solar system, others did not. But it talks about the connection keeping Pluto as one of us had eventually evolved beyond this solar system. So due to like physical laws and changes that happened. So some people consider it as still part of the tribe, and other people consider it as something that's been exiled from the system. But it talks about Pluto finding a new tribe. So and that's like 𝓦𝓸𝓻𝓵. It's a bunch of other kind of dwarf planets and asteroids that welcome Pluto in. Yeah, I know, I've got low battery. Thank you so much for the notification. So yeah, it's almost like there's something that you've acknowledged when it comes to what it is you've been notified at this time in your life. There is a way that you're hopefully accepted for this gift, for this ability. And although it may be less quantity, it does feel like there is more quality coming to you in experience, just because it reminds me of, you know, often smaller animals actually have a higher, venom potency. And I'm seeing that as you retreating into solitude during times in your life, and every time you do come out of those periods of solitude or isolation, there's something more concentrated in your energy field that you then bring. And people can have with Pluto a very strong aversion to you or a very strong magnetic pull towards you just on a soul level because of the lessons that are destined to play out in your field. So just know that it kind of reminds you of having Pluto in the first house energy or Pluto on the ascendant, something like that. And I can speak with someone else, Pluto conjunct the ascendant. It's very much that energy. There's something very interesting about your field, something very cryptic, like people can't put their finger on it, but it's something very interesting going on. And then you have density, which talks about belief systems and things that have been previously weighing us down that transform in your vicinity. Okay. And then X-rays is like, or they see themselves clearly, including the repressed and suppressed aspects of themselves, or what it is that they've been, I'm hearing, hiding or too ashamed to confront or accept. It's like a deep sense of acceptance that comes within your field. Right. I'm going to do one more message for you, and then I'm going to leave you there. I'm just going to get an advice message for you in the Gateway of the Light activation. Okay. You have Crystal Skull Wisdom, and then you also have Hathor Light Codes. So, and then you also have third eye chakra at the base, right? So seeing things clearly through the lens of the soul. Now, Crystal Skull Wisdom talks about clarity arriving within the mind. So you could be gaining a lot of clarity around, I'm hearing, why you've been blessed with this gift and you've recovered this gift. It's a healing tool to bring clarity to the headspace, especially if there's confusion around why this is being your signature. So all aspects of your life are becoming clearer at this time. Expect to become aware of what you need to step away from in order to have more of a focused path. You may have felt indecisive, but now you're downloading direct guidance from the heart of source so that you can live and express yourself in a more authentic way. Know that downloads often appear as your own inner guidance, encouraging you to move forward. The key is to recognize the calmness that they bring. This is a time of clarity and connection. Crystal Skull Wisdom is here to bring clarification to what you've been receiving within. In order for the next phase of your journey to unfold, you must follow the information that you've received. You know what it is that you need to do in order to heal and grow. If you've been asking for a sign that the healing work you've done has been successful, trust that this is the message that you've been waiting for. And then Hathor Light Codes talks about power recall, right? It's like the birth of a new you. It's a super interesting energy. So it talks about a mission that you're on and this bridge that's activating when it comes to your connection to the earth. This is light immersion. You're experiencing a full system upgrade. The infinite solar light of the Hathors is surrounding you now. This is a time of expansion and excitement. You're filled with unlimited potential. The gifts that were once in darkness are now being brought to light. So this is something that you're owning, right? Okay, because Pluto is very much the underworld energy. So this is something within your own shadow work that you're now able to hold space for as other people are moving through that as well. That's really ultimately what it is. In order to become a healer in that way, it's because you've learned how to hold space for yourself. So now you can do that for others, and you can recognize where they're going through a cycle in which you have also moved through. That's really what it is. So the gifts that were once in darkness are now being brought into the light. The parts of yourself that were once hidden are now being seen. Life is being restored, and if you've been experiencing sluggish or tiredness, this is being washed away. Something ancient has awakened, and you're remembering why you're here. So welcome home to your light. Okay, welcome home to this truth. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing because we'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. And also check out Autistic if you're looking for some high quality AAA grade gemstones. $1 of the proceeds are donated towards autistic sanctuaries. And I'm going to love and leave you right there. Until next time, bye!